This is Standing Watch. And now, Evangelist Norbert Link.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to our Standing Watch program. Donald Trump had made it very clear that he wanted to acquire ownership of Greenland. And until his speech at Davos on January 21, he never ruled out military occupation. He said he would impose tariffs on European countries which did not support his quest and which had sent a small contingent of troops to Greenland. He said Denmark had no right of ownership, echoing comments of his advisor Stephen Miller, who had even said the following: America has a right to Greenland because tiny Denmark cannot defend its territory against U.S. military force. Trump had ordered his Special Forces commander to draw up plans for the invasion of Greenland, according to an article by Daily Mail dated January 10. Trump said that only his own morality can stop him as commander-in-chief. Trump even posted an AI-produced image of him presenting a doctored map of the Western Hemisphere, showing Canada, Greenland, and Venezuela all under a US flag to European leaders gathered in the Oval Office. Another image showed him planting a US flag on Greenland while flanked by Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio with a sign that read Greenland, US territory established 2026. The New York Post wrote on January 19, President Trump has warned America's European allies, I no longer feel an obligation to think purely of peace, after he missed out on last year's Nobel Prize. Now, while this was going on, Europe reacted with strong condemnation. German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier said on January 8 that we should not let the world order disintegrate into a den of robbers, where the unscrupulous take what they want. The Guardian wrote on January 14 that it is time for Europe to tell the US to leave its European military bases, throw off the yoke of US tech billionaires. Europe must cut the cord now and not follow them into the storm. Deutsche Welle wrote on January 19, the second term of US President Donald Trump has brought unprecedented strain on once solid German-American relations. The issue of Greenland could be a tipping point. This is a really dramatically tense time. And so Europe is again seriously thinking of creating a powerful united army, and to do it under the rule of core nations, not all the 27 member states, just a few core nations. Now, candidate for the chancellorship in 2021, Armin Laschet, spoke recently about possibly 10 core nations. 10. Interesting, because both the book of Daniel and the book of Revelation talk about 10 end-time nations. Politico wrote on January 19, for many European governments, divorce, they believe, is now inevitable. Divorce between Europe and America. The article continues, European states have spent much of Trump's second term working in an increasingly effective group that already operates without America. National security advisors from 35 governments are in regular contact. Now it is just at the level of officials. National leaders are themselves rolling up their sleeves and working in intimate new groupings, and then leaders from Germany, UK, France, Italy, Finland, and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen are mentioned. And the article continues, over the past year they have developed a well-drilled routine of exchanging messages whenever Trump does something wild and potentially damaging. This format could potentially become the seedbed for a new security alliance in an era when the United States no longer supports NATO and European security. And let me also say that the vast majority of Americans reject Trump's intention to acquire Greenland. And so, after his provocative speech in Davos, Trump suddenly declared the framework for a future deal had been made, and tariffs against European countries were at this point no longer necessary. Now, it's not really clear what was agreed upon, but Trump said the deal would give America everything it wanted, or perhaps he wanted. But at the same time, it was clarified that the deal did not include transfer of ownership of Greenland to the United States. That's what Trump wanted. Now, Europeans have stated that it's far too early to tell what this is all about and what the deal covers, which Denmark would not have given to the United States anyhow. And so only two scenarios are possible. Either Trump has really given up on his plan to buy or conquer Greenland, thereby admitting a tremendously embarrassing defeat. Now, can you imagine Trump admitting to that? Or he's holding back for now, only to revive his imperial ambition at a proper time. And I personally think the latter one is the more plausible explanation. And that would include also his desire to deal with Canada, Cuba, Panama, Mexico, and perhaps even other countries. Be it as it may, the trust between the United States and Europe is gone. The BBC wrote today, US allies will not forget Trump-Greenland crisis. Now, let me just say this is in fulfillment of biblical prophecy, because alienation between Europe and the United States has to occur. And Trump has now contributed to that alienation for sure. Now, will Trump's America ever become the owner of Greenland? Probably not. But this doesn't mean that Trump won't try again. God said he will take away the sea gates from the United States. And Greenland is arguably such a sea gate. But God also says that in the latter days, a mighty European army under the leadership of a military Führer, called the Beast in the Bible, will attack and conquer the United States. And we are getting closer and closer to this prophesied event. For more information, look at our weekly updates on these developments. Thanks very much for listening. This is Norbert Link for the Standing Watch program.
Standing Watch is a presentation by the Church of the Eternal God, P.O. Box 270519, San Diego, California 92198. More information is also available at our website, eternalgod.org.